ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਥਕੋਨਾ ਦੇ MP ਲਿੰਡਾ ਡੰਕਨ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਆਓ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। Linda, it's a pleasure to have you on our show. Just tell us briefly your role in the Parliament, since you are the only one out of 28 from Alberta representing us there.
Well, it's my honor and my pleasure to be on your program. It's a delight. Yes, I am the only opposition member elected in Alberta, and so I think that particularly puts an onus on me to try to be a voice for those who don't particularly hold the conservative point of view. But I see my role as being also nonpartisan, that I'm here to be a voice where people want to express their perspective, of course. First and foremost, I represent the constituents of Edmonton, Strathcona. But I'm also here as a voice for anybody in this province who feels that perhaps their perspective isn't being heard.
Tell us about your role, the portfolio that you have and your responsibilities there.
When I was first elected, I was grateful that Jack Layton appointed me as the environment critic. And then he later, a few years later, appointed me as the critic for Aboriginal Affairs and Northern Development. When Thomas Mulcair became the leader, he put me in a very important economic portfolio, the portfolio of Public Works and Government Services. And that's a big portfolio because that governs all of the buildings and infrastructure owned by the federal government. In some cases, it includes some of the military, and sometimes it's parks, but sometimes those stay under those particular facilities. One of the policies of the federal government of late, for example, is to download some of the facilities owned by the federal government. So my role is to watchdog that and make sure that we're getting the best value for dollar, or maybe that we should retain those facilities. In that role, I have actually initiated a review of the greening of federal infrastructure, because one of the ways that we can save tax dollars for Canadians is by making sure that we run our federal facilities in the most energy efficient way. And so starting in a few weeks, we will be delving into an examination of that. Of course, I've heard from a lot of Edmontonians are very upset that the government ended the energy retrofit program for the small businesses and for the homes. Well, in the same way, we could save a lot of our dollars. We wouldn't have to cut programs. Maybe we could put the dollars back into the home energy retrofit if we became more energy efficient in the way that we run federal facilities. The other side of the portfolio is government services. And of course, that's all of the federal civil service and the support that's given to them.
Somehow, we Albertans, whenever we tend to visit the parks, and Banff comes to mind first, and then of course Jasper. But those are pretty costly ventures for us in summer times. There are so many other beautiful parks around Edmonton, around our area, including Elk Island Park out in the east. And why is government not promoting these such wonderful facilities for Albertans or for Canadians too?
Well, thank you for raising that. In fact, just today, again, somebody else raised that with me. I met with some seniors, and they were concerned that they were privatizing some of the facilities, for example, the hot springs in the national parks. Recently, we've heard that they're allowing to build big structures in the parkway between Jasper and Banff, and people were opposed to that. But also recently in Elk Island Park, which is the park that's closest to Edmonton. We're not like Calgary, we're not close to Jasper the way they're close to Banff, and so Elk Island is the national park that's closest to us. And just this year, the government cut the funding even to track the ski trails. And I think with the minimal amount of money that's spent on that, that's the wrong decision. Because you can't at the same time say that people should practice participation. In other words, get your family out and get them active, and then cut back on those very services. You can't download everything on the community. There's some services that we expect government to provide, and I think those minimal services are really important. So we want to have our national parks protected and maintained, and particularly those that are close to big urban center like Edmonton.
We look forward to meet with you again in future and introduce you to the community at large, Indo-Canadian community. And anything in conclusion, would you like to say to our viewers?
No, I wish that I could give greetings in your language, but I still give warm greetings to those who follow your program. And I'm delighted that I'm able to share with you today one of my colleagues, Ginny Sim, who is our immigration, citizenship, and multicultural critic. And over time, you'll find a lot more of my colleagues, particularly my Quebec colleagues, are really dying to come to Alberta. So we'll try to give you notice of that so that your watchers can also meet these colleagues.